Hi! Welcome to the Victorious Wool podcast, episode 16. I've been recording every week, and it's been going really well. I decided to record in the white corner over here, just for a little variety. And it's a really sunny day outside. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's a little darker in here than it would be earlier in the day, but I still think it looks pretty good. I thought this week that I would talk about just a couple of things. It is September 1st today, the day of Return to Hogwarts, if you're a Harry Potter fan. And I took a picture, I posted it on my Instagram, of the outfit I am wearing today and the one I wore last September 1st. And last year I wore the Wool and Honey by Andrea Mowry, which I did in a rusty red with one of my not perfect linen skirts or dress, probably a dress that I wore last year. And today I have linen pants on. I have an Andrea Mowry sweater. This is the Ginny, which you probably can't see in this lighting very well, but if you go on my Instagram account, there's a really good reel and at least one photo of it. And then it paired really nicely this morning. And I was trying to figure out what to put on with my new Meridian Lines shawl. So it was a little chilly. It's probably a little warmer now. I haven't been outside much today, but it was kind of the perfect day for some woolens and some linen together. Got all these tassels, and it made a really fun knit and linen outfit. I know that I won't be able to wear linen for a lot longer. Maybe for the month, we'll see. It depends on. I'm trying to think of what will I transition into wearing if I'm not wearing linen. Pants are easier. Linen pants. They're not that cooler to wear than like leggings. But I probably will end up wearing a lot more jeans come the colder weather, and then the sweaters will take over. And I don't know about you, but I like to not turn the heating on until it's really cold, because it just gives me an opportunity to really wear a lot of sweaters in my workspace and live it up a little bit before I can have to start artificially heating the room. Anyway, Meridian Lines is coming out September 22nd. I haven't changed my calendar over yet, so I don't know why I'm looking over there. But I believe it's a Wednesday. I believe it's the 3rd or 4th Wednesday. Today is a Wednesday. It's probably 3 weeks from today, I think. Yeah, 3 weeks from today when I'm recording. So you'll probably 2.5 weeks from when you might be seeing this or after. But I'm still very excited. I think I originally intended it to be more of a summery thing, but it's quite warm, the shawl, because you fold it over. It's a square that you fold over on itself. So actually, it's probably better suited to transition seasons like spring and fall. So it's a big square with tassels on each end. I've talked about it a bunch. It's made with the Purl Soho linen quill, so it has like 15% linen in it, and some alpaca and some wool. Comes in really wonderful colors. You can even see the heather from the black, particularly on this lower quality camera. So, I kind of feel like, I don't know if I have said this on the podcast already, but I kind of feel like the color combinations I was going for were kind of inspired by my memory of what J.Crew used to be, that U.S. company, kind of preppy clothing company. When I was growing up, they were really preppy, and they were a little expensive for me as like a preteen and teenager. And they would have striped stuff in their more summer collections and things that were like very preppy stripes. So this sort of is a connection back to that, because really so much of the sweaters that I saw as a youngster came from those catalogs. I would see them full of like 100% cashmere sweaters in like 20 colors, and they would have 100% lambswool and like really woolly, kind of New England style, I think, New England style stuff, but actually like 100% wool. And I have several pieces, I guess, or sweaters from thrift stores that are from J.Crew. Over the years, I think I have 3. I have like a white woolly, really woolly lambswool one that has cables down the side. That one still fits me, but it's snug. So I wear it like on really cold days or when I'm going to be outside a lot. And then I have one that's, I think has mothballs in it, but I've also worn it a lot when I was farming and stuff. And so the elbows are busted out, and each armpit has a big hole, and there's like holes in the back and stuff. It's bagged up now, but I would really benefit from either being mended with like patches or like I could needle felt a piece of wool and like felt it in there. Probably better with a patch, but I love it. It's very it's felted and shrunk, but it still fits, so I still wear that one. It has like, it's sort of brown with a navy blue stripe across the chest. It could have been for guys. It could have started out a lot larger. I kind of have a memory of it being pretty big, and it's very small now. I should never have washed it. I don't know why I thought I could get away with that before I started a lot of hand knitting. Anyway, and then I have one more. I have like a 100% cashmere V-neck. That's gray. I think I still have. I just can't remember if I've seen it lately. It might also be bagged up. Anyway, I sort of have like a retroactive obsession with J.Crew things from my teenagers. And so when I think about the direction of style that I'd like to go in, I think I'd like to connect back to those memories more and more. So this was probably my first attempt, and I'm really happy with it. It was so fun to work on. The testers some of them are done. My mom's working on it. She's probably 2/3 of the way done. I have another tester who's totally done, was done last week, really fast, and then I think 6 other people that are still working on it. And it's such a fun one to do, especially if you pick a yarn that you really enjoy working with, like I do the linen quill. Anyway, September 22nd. Very excited about it. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was my first sweater. And I'm not going to put it on because I don't want to torture myself. I don't know when I want to say someday I'll put it on, but I don't know when that would be. It's like, I probably haven't changed at all in the bust, but I haven't put it on since 2017, maybe 18. I put it on for photos, and it doesn't quite fit in my shoulders. But anyway, it was a really good experience. I've been thinking about the first 3 sweaters I made that don't fit, in terms of kind of what I talked about last week, which is practice. We don't seam sweaters much these days, so we're out of practice, and that made me think of my first sweater and how you practice by making a few sweaters before you really start to collect information that helps you make better choices. So this is from this book called Last Minute Knitted Gifts by Joelle Hoverson. This is also harken back to like early days, not to the days of when I was getting the J.Crew catalogs as a teenager, but to the early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, or even the teens. What are those called? The aughts. Anyway, like when interweave books were really big in my mind, and I would order them from my local bookstore and everything, and like getting really beautiful knitting books was a hobby, and I still have quite a few. I have given away a lot because I don't really look at them much anymore. I'm buying mostly reference books, but this book, some really fun gifts in it, and this sweater is really pretty. It's supposed to look like this. There we go. Boat neck with a little opening at the sleeve. Hourglass shape. It's called the Hourglass Sweater. Here it is, laying flat. I think it's not with hand spun, but with Noro. So it sort of has that thick and thin quality to it. And I made it in Cascade 220. I worked at a store, pharmacy local to the island, or a pharmacy on the island that sold a lot of Cascade 220, and I bought a lot of it. I still have a lot of it. Look how lumpy my sleeve is. And I think I probably used a size 7, and I don't even know if I gauge swatched. I can't remember. It took me 4 years to make it, and you can probably see right around here. Maybe it's on the back, more obvious here. Yeah, you can kind of tell. There's a line that's due to the colors being from different dye lots. So it gets like darker, right, and then a little lighter. And so I didn't know about that when you knit a sweater, you want to make sure that you buy all the yarn from the same dye lot, which means that all that yarn was dyed at one time, not like they did the recipe 1 week and then a month later they did another batch of the same recipe. It's not going to be quite the same color. So you want the dye lot to be the same. And that's usually on the label. And the skein that was here, this is from the bottom up. So you do the body in the round, and then you do, I think the sleeves were in the round, and then you do this crazy thing. It only looks crazy if you're trying to do it based on a print from a book and not that you've actually ever seen it happen before, which I hadn't. And you join the sleeves in the body and you start knitting the yoke together. Or the raglan. It's really a raglan. And the ball I used at the very, very top here had like 20 breaks in it. And I didn't know that shouldn't happen, and that if it does, I should probably have contacted the store that I got the yarn from and gotten another skein, or contacted the company directly, and then like there were a lot of breaks in here, and that shouldn't be the case. And I didn't know that you could spit and splice, so I wove all those ends in. I think it took me like, I think I remember at least 2 hours, which doesn't seem that long actually, so maybe it was longer, to get all the ends in on the top of this raglan. So my sleeves are funky shaped. It has pilled a little bit, which is interesting considering I didn't wear it at all, so it must have been abrased in some other manner. This one is a little funky shaped, but not as bad as the other one. Anyway, I think I made it. I made the body, the lower part of the body, and then didn't work on it for a while and went back to it and didn't have any notes and totally forgot entirely where I was, so I had to rip the whole thing out and knit it again. That's why it took me 4 years to knit the sweater, and then when I finished it, I think it was 2014, right? 2014 or 13? I think it was 2000. Either 2013 or 2014, which doesn't seem like that long ago, but it doesn't in my mind sound like it was that long ago. But I've done so much since then. I've knit so many sweaters since then. I have something like 25 hand-knit sweaters in that time. So this sweater has an important place in that it was the first one, and that I learned so many different things and skills as what not to do. And I can get in it. I don't think I would ever give it away, I think, unless I totally just didn't have space. But it's nice to have as like I think I should also have the first scarf I made, which was like a gray, also with Cascade 220. ribbed scarf that I have somewhere. It has terrible, like, because I would add stitches on accident, because when you knit flat, oftentimes if you pull the yarn up and over that straight needle, you expose both of the legs of the stitch below, and then you knit into both of them and make two. And so it would get bigger, and then I would decrease because I knew how to do that, and then it would get smaller, and it's just terrible. And then there's a moment in that scarf when I had this Austrian friend. I can't even remember what her name was now, but she had been knitting since she was a little girl. She was really good. I think she was probably a couple years older than me at the time, so she was probably like 27 or something. So she'd been knitting a long time. And she was sitting next to me, and I think seeing me struggle with that scarf, and she got me to knit continental. And then all of a sudden, in this one sitting, my edges were straight. So that's why people have asked me that about, like, do you knit continental or do you knit English, and how did you learn continental? And I was like, magic. I was just next to a European person, and they said, hey, you should try this, and it worked better for me at that time. And since then, I have changed the way I hold the yarn in my hand, in my left hand, several times, because I realized that it wasn't working for me anymore, or I could do it better. And I just changed it, because you can reprogram your hands to do something at least a little bit different. So yeah, that's kind of all I have time for today. I don't want to make them too long because it just takes longer to edit them, and then I won't be able to do an episode every week. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I will be back next week to talk about this thing I learned about the process of designing something, and I had a really hard day was it a couple weeks ago, that I maybe mentioned, but I wanted to go into a little bit more detail. So I will talk about that next time. But I hope you have a good weekend and that you are enjoying your current project.